then
Yeah.
start recording again. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I should probably make it, that should be good. Okay, you guys can see my screen again?
You just went away. Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be one of the images that I'm using in this document where I'm going to create like a double exposure effect. I'm going to also use this image right here of my friend Nikki. So we're going to have, move this somewhere that it doesn't, there we go. We're going to have her with like the mountains showing through her. Here's an example of like the final version of that image that I've already created. So you can kind of see there's like some clouds outside of her head. Where she overlaps the mountain scene is where it shows through. And then we have a little bit more detail on her face, so you can see that. So there's some areas that you can see more clearly, and then other areas that are more of the mountains. So I'm going to try and go through it pretty quick. I already made a selection of her so that you guys didn't have to sit around and wait for me to make that selection. So I saved it. So I'm going to go up to select and then go down to load selection. And I'm going to choose, oh, this is on a different project. Never mind. Okay, so on this project, I have to make that selection again. So I like the quick selection tool. You can use different ones. But I'm just going to select her outline, and it selects the wings. I'm okay with that. Maybe I want a little bit of her dress as well. So this is where the mountain is going to overlap this image. So I'm just going to try and find that edge. It does a pretty good job until if you go up to select and mask.
Then it'll be like,
I know you can't see my menu, but there's a menu there that's like covering. There it goes. So select and mask, and then you can smooth wherever it's red is showing what's not selected. So she's the only thing that's being selected right now. I might even feather the edge. And you can see there's some areas where it's not perfect, but that's okay. We're not in the mood for perfection today. Okay, so that is her outline. We're gonna go ahead and select her and put her on a different layer. So edit, copy, edit, paste. And then you can just kind of see what we have on that layer is right like that. Now we need the mountain landscape to add to this image. So I'm just going to select all, that's Command A. And then I'm going to drag up, hover, and then drag down. And you can see how tiny it is. So Command T will let me resize. You know, that's what we were doing earlier in Illustrator. You can do it in Photoshop by hitting Command T.
learn something new every day.
Yeah, me too. My dog is over here crying. I'm sorry, Blitzen. This is not interesting for you.
This is school. This is serious.
I'm working, Blitzen. I'm not here. I'm just a figment of your imagination.
Okay. Right now.
Yeah. So this is the background. This is her. I want to kind of turn down the opacity just so I can see where it overlaps and decide.
That's kind of cool, just like that. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Should I have like the mountains pretty high up? Maybe some clouds over here. She's got a bunch of mountains on her face.
That's actually really cool. Just it fading on her.
And that's what it's going to look like, but we'll add a blending mode to do that. So I'm going to turn the opacity back up now that I have it placed. And I'm going to hide that for a moment. Go back to this layer, and if I two-finger click, so it's kind of like a right click on the image itself, it'll let me select those pixels. So I can make that selection again without having to go and use the tool. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go back to layer 2. I like to name my layers things that I can understand. So I'm just going to double click on that and call it mountain.
Not like, oh, this is thing 1. This is thing 2.
Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3. Yeah, that would be confusing. So
yeah.
I'll just
like thing 1, thing 2, they all sound the same. Which one is which?
Nikki and mountains. So now we're going to go to the mountains picture, and we're going to hit this mask button. Are any of you familiar with masks or using masks in Photoshop? A little bit. So what this does is it's going to hide all the area that is outside the marching ants. So you see those little marching ants on the screen. Wherever I have selected is going to be protected, and then the outside is going to be hidden. So when I click on the mask button, it adds a mask, and you can see the outline here is in the shape of Nikki, because that's where I got the pixels from. So now it's as simple as adding a blending mode to this. So go up here to where it says normal, and you can try different ones like soft light maybe, so you can see a little bit of that. Oh, she looks like she's got a unibrow. That was unintended.
Wait, I have to screenshot that. I'm sorry. I have to.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, we're good.
So then we're gonna go to maybe overlay. I'm already thinking ahead to what parts I'm gonna erase. So you can kind of play around. Lighten works really well. Let's stick with lighten for now. And then we're going to make another copy of the mountains. So I'm just going to drag it down to this little layer, and then I'm going to delete this layer mask for a second. I just want to delete it. And then I'm going to add another one. Let me think about this for a second.
Another one.
Another one. Yes. Hold on. I think I did that wrong. Let's just delete this layer. If you're following along at home, I apologize. Okay, so we'll make a copy of this, and this time we'll keep the layer mask on, but I'm going to add to it. Okay, so whenever you click on this layer mask, the black parts are what's hidden, and the white parts are what's revealed. So we can use a brush to alter that. So say we want the clouds up above her head, kind of like we had before. So we're going to paint with white. We're going to have kind of like a larger soft brush, just like that. Oops.
Yeah.
And then you can also use, trying to get it to work. There it goes. So if you use the bracket keys, you can make your brush larger, smaller. So you can kind of see wherever I paint. Somehow I got the wrong color. Whenever I paint with white, it's going to reveal that part. Oh, dang, I'm painting on the picture. Somehow I messed myself up, but here we go. So now I'm painting, and I'm kind of revealing those clouds. That's kind of what I wanted.
It still looks cool, even if you didn't mean to.
No, I messed up. It's okay.
What?
Okay, so now we need to get a little bit more of her face visible. So I'm going to make a copy of this layer of Nikki and put it on top. And now we can, let's add another mask. And I'm going to do, let's see, Command A to select all. And we're going to fill this mask in with black. So edit, fill with foreground color. Okay. So now, see, we have a black mask. That means everything's hidden from that layer. I want to reveal her face in this layer. So this is where I'm going to change my color to white, use a brush, and then you can see wherever I click, she's going to be more apparent. So I'm going to try and get rid of that unibrow look. There, did I do it?
Comes with it.
Okay, so now her face is more obvious. Her hair and body have more of the landscape texture. I could probably even change the, oh, there we go. So if I change the blending mode to soft light on this mountains layer, notice how it comes through even more. So
like
now
if you had different lights, like one was soft, one was hard, one was mixed.
Yeah, that's why I have different layers. And you kind of have to, you saw me playing with it. I made some mistakes. I had to go back and try something different. So feel free to play with it. You can use 3 different mountain layers, different blending modes, as long as you're experimenting with, you know, one maybe being a little bit more see-through and then going back and adding some areas that you like I liked her face, so I brought that back in. That can be a good tutorial to try. So to create a background color, it's as simple as creating a new layer in the background. Hold on. I have to try and move you guys. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, well, I'll try and do it some other way then. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna go down to these layer styles, and then you can add, where is it? Oh, it's an adjustment. Solid color. And then choose some kind of color from the picture. So I kind of like maybe some of the like beach color. That's kind of nice. I could have also done like the sky color. What do you guys think?
The beach.
Looks cool.
Color. Oops, that's really, really different.
That's.
I like that color I had first. Where did that go?
What about the water and like with her skin?
Like right here?
No, like up. Yeah, like
Kind of.
yeah, like that.
Okay, so there's the background. This part kind of needs to be trimmed off probably because that's where the picture ends. So we can just crop it to wherever we like it.
This does something.
So
Just
pretty.
the line behind her looks like she just flew. Like
Yeah, like
she
a
is
fairy.
zoomed over here.
Yeah, here's my other one. It's kind of different. I feel like every time you do this, you might get totally different effects, but that's okay. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show was a tilt shift effect. So that would be using something from like a picture of architecture or a street scene, something with people, maybe cars, but that's taken from a higher vantage point. So taken from high up looking down. So
Third view.
yeah, this is a weird, unusual view of Times Square because it's daytime and there's no people there, or there's very few, which is not something you see very often. So I thought I'd take advantage and use it to teach the tilt shift effect. So this is a miniature effect where it's simulating a lens that can tilt. And what that does is it creates blur at the top, blur at the bottom, and then the middle is in focus, and it looks like a really shallow depth of field picture of a very small model set. So it looks like something that, you know, would have been used to film movies whenever they didn't have special effects back then. So like a very small picture effect. So to do this, I always like to make a copy of the background layer. I didn't mention that in the last one, but if you'll go back and notice, I probably did. That's just my automatic habit to make sure I have a backup copy in case something gets messed up. So on this background copy now, we're going to try and create like a gradient. It's called a reflected gradient, and the top is going to be selected and the bottom, and then the center will be protected. So in order to do this, we're going to go over here off to the left. It's only like a 3-step process. So you're going to enter into quick mask mode. So what that does, you'll notice the layer is now red. So this quick mask mode allows me to make a selection and a mask without having to like press the mask button. So it's kind of like 2 things in one. Okay, so I'm going to add a gradient to this. So if you come up to the gradient tool, click on it, it's going to go from black to white, which will be from like hidden to revealed on a mask. And then there's different types of gradients up here at the top. You'll see on this options bar, you'll want to choose the reflected gradient. So now you just click and drag down, and you kind of have to play with it. So it's using the red area is going to be protected. So that's pretty good. That's the area that's going to be in focus. And then the top and the bottom are going to be left out. So now I just exit quick mask mode. And there you can see my selection. So it doesn't show right now, but there's a gradient on this. So it'll kind of fade from being selected to not being selected. Okay, so now I'm just going to copy and paste. So go edit, copy. And then edit, paste. And you'll notice this is on its own layer. So now this is the only thing that's there. This is the only thing that's going to be in focus. Now maybe I need to go back and edit it a little bit because I don't have very many people in there, but we'll just try it and see. So layer 1, I'm just going to click, and this is going to be focus. And then this layer 0 is going to be out of focus, so I don't get confused. All right, or I could say blurry or something like that. So to add blur, I'm going to go up to, whoops, that menu's back. Filter, blur, and then I would use either lens blur or Gaussian blur. So I'm just gonna try lens blur, and then, whoa, that's a little too blurry. So down here where it says radius, this is how you can change that. So I'm gonna drag it back until it looks the way I want it. So this is just gonna appear at the bottom and the top because the middle is protected. Is that enough blur? What do you guys think? Yes?
Yeah.
Kind of gives that lens blur effect. And there it is. You guys see what it did? It's not a perfect system because there are some things like the buildings are out of focus here, but they're in focus there. But you can kind of see there's like some cars and some people that show up. And then these guys in the foreground are blurry, so it makes it look like it's a miniature set. So it could be something fun to kind of play around with. Okay. Well, I feel like I finished early. I have one more thing I can show if you guys have patience left. So I can show you how to use that double exposure technique to create an interesting effect. So I'm just going to use the same image. Well, let's open a new one. So I have this ink here, and this could be like hair off of my fairy. So I'm just going to open a new file. And I think this one works pretty good. Wait, no, this one. Okay. So gotta make a copy. And then I'm going to select the ink. And to select this, I can use, let's make a copy first of all.
How was like the light like shining through the wing?
Oh, you mean on the picture of her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it might be a little overexposed. This is the file that I have the selection of her, so I don't take the time. Okay, so there's, let's see, where did it go? There's like a color range somewhere. I knew I'd forget where this was. Okay, well, I'm just gonna use the magic wand. So if you have a really solid color background like this, you can select with the magic wand and then go, so right now I have just the white selected. I can go select inverse, and now I have just the purple. So I can use my move tool and drag it on, which other image was it? This one. So drag it onto this image and then let go. And there it is. It doesn't have the white background anymore. So Command T, I can resize it. I might want to go edit, transform, maybe flip horizontal, and then Command T, rotate. So I'm just going to kind of place it.
What if it like comes from behind her?
What I'm going to do is make it kind of look like her hair. So I can make this kind of see-through. Let's see. So you can kind of see where it lines up. And kind of line it up like that. And then turn that opacity back up. So now I'm going to select her. So let's see. Select, load selection. Nope, this isn't the one I saved it in either. Weird. Okay, that's okay. So I like, again, the quick selection tool. You just kind of click and it'll find that edge. So I don't think I want this wing. I think I just want her. So I'm going to leave out the wings. Kind of like that. All right, so now I might save this selection. So you go select, save selection. Call it fairy and click OK. So now if I ever needed, like, whoops, if I lost that, I could go back to select, load selection, and then I would find that again. Okay. So now with this selection of her, I'm going to turn my ink layer back on. I call that ink. And then I'm going to choose select inverse. So now I have like the background selected, and I can add, think about this. Nope, that's not what I wanted.
That's cool though.
It is cool, but I think I want to add a blank mask first. Yes, okay, now I go back here. Load selection, good thing I saved it. Load selection, fairy, there it is. And now I'm going to inverse. So select inverse, and now I have the background, and I can go on this mask here, and I can just paint with black and hide that part that overlaps. So that's what I wanted. There we go. I'm kind of getting rid of parts of it. I think right there might look pretty realistic. That'll look good. Command D. Okay, so now on this layer, let's see. I'm gonna do the same thing I did in the last tutorial. So here is her. I'm going to add a mask, Command A, and then if I just fill it with black, edit fill, with the foreground color over here is black. Now, when I paint white on this mask, I can reveal her face. So I'm gonna switch to white, use my brush, get kind of like a smaller brush, zoom in a little bit, and then you can see wherever I paint, her face is going to come back into view.
This is a weird thing, but you should be a YouTuber.
Well, thank you. Maybe I'll start doing that on the side.
Especially now when everyone's binge watching YouTube and Netflix.
Yeah, now's the time. Now's an opportunity. So she kind of has like a face. I think it'd look better even without her body if she just kind of looked like she was like emerging from the depths of the sea or something
Like
that.
as a background, and like her just like looking away, and like it following her.
Like this. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. So I'll go to my
To me, it looks like I don't know how to explain it.
kind of magical. Let's try and get my boundaries to make sense here. There we go. She's on a visual magnet there. And what should we do for a background? A solid color? We could do brush strokes or something like that.
What are brush strokes?
So if you hit this brush tool right here,
Yeah.
and then choose different colors. Notice I'm on layer 1, so I can always delete it if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But I could try different brushes. There's all these different like brush categories here. Let's see. Like get more brushes, import brushes, or you can scroll down through here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Textures, like, ooh, there was a cool one. Scattered maple leaves. Let's see what that does. And again, you can like change the size up here. Usually if you hit the right or left bracket tool, oh, I see what I'm doing. I'm typing in the thing. So the right bracket tool will make it bigger. Here we go. So you can kind of see what it's doing. So it's adding some texture behind her. I can add another layer and change to whatever that is. Maybe change colors. Double click and you can change to like an orange or something different. Right bracket key will make it bigger, and then you can just kind of like paint. So this is a great way to make a unique background. And then, whoops,
Going, that happens to me all the time.
I didn't know if you guys were still there. Okay, yeah, it logged me out. Anyway, and then let's just do one more layer just for the sake of showing something new. Let's just try a basic brush, and this time you can change your blending mode. So all of these will darken where it overlaps. Oops, let me get a different color. So wherever I crisscross over, you can notice that it multiplies, makes things darker. Wherever I change the mode to lighten or screen, it will make it lighter wherever it crisscrosses over. So that's kind of unique. Kind of don't like this geometry that we have going on over here.
Too much math.
So maybe I can go to clear, and that kind of acts like an eraser. I can change my brush tip. Yeah, just kind of erase that part. Okay, you can lower your opacity so it kind of does half. And then maybe, so I have layer 1, 2, and 3. Maybe another layer I could add is just a solid color. So let's go to those adjustments again. Get solid color. Yeah, that one works. And then, you know, you can kind of hide different layers and see which ones work best.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually really cool.
That one looks good. So maybe I'll just leave it there. Okay, so that would be tutorial number 3. Yeah, any requests if you guys want me to look up or learn how to do something or show something that maybe you want to learn how to do, you can always send me an email with a request. And then, because I'm always looking for new tutorials, new fun things to show in my weekly tutorials. So, oh, we're ending just on time. It's 11:29. Good job, everybody.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Oh, here's a hand up. All right, no other questions?
Bye, George.
Bye.